of it's like a form of transmission. It's a form of making yourself be a transceiver. That's it, a transceiver, having the ability to receive and transmit information or become a receptacle. So, got the art of listening. Sorry, on this prayer, yeah, you should be able to put it on Telegram. It's one of our yeah, and okay. That wasn't the thing about it. I was about to say that wasn't the one I wanted to recite, but then I realized it's the one I wanted to recite. So, okay, so before we start today's class, just like to make an announcement pertaining to the chat. And okay, so this is for everybody who considers themselves to be more Nawapans or more Sabato Sabians and would like to become a part of the community, um, or to reaffirm or complete your interest to be part of the community in London, UK. There's a link you could access, which is called nashat.co.uk/join our community. I think one of the brothers should be able to put it up. If you join that, you could join, you could register, and they give you access to all the classes and plus much more. Okay. So with that, once again, we'd like to say Rahubat, which is greetings, everyone. And said before, I am Habtui Ray Atam Hatap, Live by the Spirit and or the Soul, Part 2. And before we start, let's have a quick recap of last week's class. Before I start, I hope that everybody is fine. Everybody okay? Everybody okay on Zoom, Clubhouse in the UK, all around the world? I take the silence as an affirmative. Right. Let's quickly get my notes together and we will take off. Okay, you can loosen the seatbelts now. I'll go ahead, Samuel. Live by the Spirit and or the soul. Last week's class was do we live by the Spirit and or the soul? And I'll just do a quick recap.
Sorry, Zamal, just to let you know that your clubhouse is muted.
Oh, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Clubhouse. Did everyone hear the chant? So do that again. Oh. So do the chant again. Want to hear the chant again? Let's do a different one, right? Okay, hang on. What can we do? Yeah, I can do this one. Yeah, but I'm just going to do the chant again for those on Clubhouse who never heard it. It's a different chant now. This one is called, let me just pull that one up. Come on, fam, here we go. Whoops. Let's put up the chant. Maybe this one is called Paru Sawuba Patorok. Um, okay, so this chant is called Pasawuba Patorok, the truth and the way. Burur, burur, burur. Nabab Nadar Mukhtar. Burur, burur, burur. Holy, holy, holy. Master, Overseer, Almighty. Nok Mugdad Badid Patar. Not Mukhlaf Badid Yanun. No deity except Patar. No savior except Yanun. Pasmu Pataruk. Panin Isfar Kaun. Pasawubu Pataruk. زي كوانا نزلاله عنكم منه مصبات ومصحاب عام هديان دام من مصلحكم ونظر عجل ينفشكم وفوشنكم فصوب باترو فهديان فاتما نهون طوعنكم لهفان دامن شافي نهون طوعنكم لهفان ناسوينون نهون طوعنكم لهعشكما عنكم آثر مصلحون نهون آثر مخرجكم نهون طلب نصركما نهون طلب نصركما عنصر فحن ذروا عنصر مصلحون إنه نافر مصبات عانون آتو آتو آمون Anin misfar kaun pasavuk wapataruk. This book is the truth and the way. Ze kawana nozula lehe ankum. It was sent down for you all. Mane masbat u masa from Cyrus and Orion. Ame hadayanum u damalun as a guidance and a healing. Mane muslafukum u nadarkum from your old ancestors and overseers. Arjo nafashukum. Return to yourselves. Awfuk shane kaunkum. Accept what is yours. Pasawub wa pataruk, the truth and the way. Pahadayan wa padamal, for guidance, for the guidance and the healing. Nahun tawa ankum, we thank you all. Lahe panin damal ushafe, for this healing and cure. Nahun tawa ankum, lahe fam nasuinun. We thank you all for not forgetting us. Nahun tawa ankum, lahe ashukuma. We thank you all for your all's divine love. Ankum athir muslafun. You all are our ancestors. Nahun athir mukhraduhun. We thank you all. We are your all's children. Nahun talab nasarukuma. We seek your all's help. Nahun talab nasarukuma. We seek your all's help. Ansarnun kahin nadaru. Help us, divine overseers. Ansarnun muslafun. Help us, our ancestors. Nahun athir musbatu. We are Sabians. Anun, Atum, Atun, Amun. Okay, let us begin. Okay, let's begin, Moisar, in this class. And yeah, live by the spirit, live by the spirit and all the soul. Do we live by the spirit and all the soul? Before we recap, I know you guys weren't here last week, so just like to throw the question out. I can't really see. Anybody like to give a answer? Do we live by the spirit and or the soul?
by the soul.
We live by
You live
this.
by the soul
We live by the
would
soul.
mean that obviously you deal with the righteous of yourself, dealing with like who you really are, not the funk.
Okay, Thomas. What I said, live by the soul. Why not the spirit?
Imagine if you had one huge group voice note with all of your friends, where everyone could chat, ask questions, say hi, and get to know each other. That's your clubhouse. Let's get yours set up.
Okay, hold on. We can talk about that in a minute as well. Is there somebody on Clubhouse want to say something? Assume somebody.
Rahul, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Zamal.
Okay, I was going to say because when we live by the Spirit, we bring in spirits of the world and things around us instead of the soul.
Okay, which is higher? This okay, so we know we've got this. Oh, okay. When we our human body, we've got the physical body, we've got the spiritual body, we've got the soul, we've got the what we call the our etheric being, we got and we got the whole the oversoul. So let's just focus on the physical body, the what do I say? Spiritual body, the ka, and we got the ba'a, the soul. So we got the physical body, we got the spiritual body, and we got the soul. We know that the physical body operates on the lowest frequency, as the lower vibration, but the spirit and the soul, which one has the higher frequency?
Our soul has the higher frequency.
The soul has the higher frequency, so the spirit has a lower frequency. So the physical body, if you look at like three circles, the physical body houses the spirit and the soul. So which houses which? Does the spirit house the soul, or does the soul house the spirit?
The soul houses the spirit.
So if the soul is the spirit, so if you like a shell, the outer shell would be the physical body, the next shell would be the soul, and the inner shell would be the spirit. So when we cross over, I think the Bible will say something.
Just said the spirit houses the soul has the spirit.
Yeah.
But the soul is shell, spirit, soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying basically the physical has the spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The spirit has the soul.
Yeah.
Each is the reverse, the other way
Yeah,
around.
because what the Bible said that the spirit,
Yeah.
the soul houses the spirit.
Yeah.
So
But it depends on frequency, isn't it?
yeah. So what it is that I was saying, what it is that what it is that you got the physical body,
Yeah.
and the physical body houses the spirit.
Protects the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the spirit houses the soul.
Yeah.
So the soul is a higher frequency.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like brother said earlier,
Mm.
you get possessed with the spirits.
Yeah.
The physical realm.
Yeah. If a person gets possessed,
Yeah.
that means that they no longer have the soul. Because once a person is possessed by, let's say, disagreeable spirits, correct?
Yeah.
You need your soul to elevate the higher planes. You need your soul
Which I get.
yeah. But if you are possessed, right, the possession, lower vibrational entities want your soul to act as an energy source.
Which I get.
You get? So what is that when you cross over, the shell, we have an etheric cord that connects the body to the spirit and the soul.
Yeah.
When you cross over, or when a person dies, when there's no more, when the person's dead, that etheric cord from the physical to the spirit and the soul is cut. But the spirit and the soul also has an etheric cord.
Okay. So that'll be the ak and the ba'a.
Yeah, so you have the ka'a, the spirit, yeah, which is connects to the ba'a, the soul, which connects to the the etheric being, and it connects to the oval soul. So
There's 4.
okay, there's more than that, but yeah. So right, so if a person loses their soul, or the soul is severed from the spirit, because they cannot, if a person loses their soul, so they have a spiritual body, and everyone has what you call it, an etheric body, without the soul, you cannot make the ascension to the over souls and the higher planes. You need your soul.
What are the ways in which the soul can be separated?
Right, yeah, the possession, or a person could live in the image and after the likeness of other than self and kind. Mean you can lose your soul, okay, or by way of mixing outside of your seed, you can lose your soul. See, the environment that we live in has been so structured that it's there to compromise the integrity of our soul. Or to put another way, it's been the system that we are under, it's been so structured so that we sever or we lose our soul. That's how it's been so structured. But in losing your soul, it doesn't mean that you cannot regain it back. Now, especially the feminines, as a feminine, you are very, very susceptible to losing your soul, especially if a feminine, feminine negroid, if she exchanges body fluids with outside of her race with lower beings, she can lose her soul. The master said it's by certain rituals that she can regain the soul. Now, the ironic thing is, Caucasoid female, if she mixes exchanges body fluids with a negroid male, she inherits the soul, and she raises it up from what we call tussle subtle, from a six ether femi six to a tussle. What do you say? What do you call it? Sorry, I made a mistake. From a vana subtle, from a femi six, the Caucasian female, by mixing her seed with a Nagara male, she now becomes vanas tussle, femi nine female in white skin. The brother, he loses something. He loses something. He doesn't gain nothing. However, if that carcass nadu female, if she went back to her own, she would drop back down to Femi 6. So what is that the exchanging of body fluids is very, very important, but we should not do that with any and everybody. So when you see an Nagara actor, he's acting with a carcass female and exchanging body fluids. What's happening? So, and the thing about it is that, and even when you look at Nagara Nadu feminine, who's an actress, and she's exchanging body fluids with all these different men, be it Caucasus, Chinese, blah, blah, blah. They got all these different personalities within her. Because when we exchange body fluids, male and or females, we're taking in those DNA, we're taking those ancestors, agreeable and disagreeable, and all the other bodies that people have exchanged body fluids with. So that's how our body, we could be, look, the master teacher said it like this: mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. Does anybody know what that means? Mind your mind for the jewels of your soul? Yeah. Anybody know what that means? Mind your mind for the jewels of your soul? Any takers?
I think it means being careful and selective of what you engage with, because that has an impact on your soul.
It is. I remember hearing a brother broke it down to me many, many years ago. It's like this: mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. That mind is like a miner who goes down the pits looking for coal, looking for diamonds. He's mining. So he says, mind your mind. Mind, the journey is an inward journey, and seek the jewels. That is where your soul lies, within the mind, and all the jewels that are connected with your soul. See, mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. So I share it with everybody because that's what many, many years ago, brother said that. I said kind of randomly, and I go, okay, right. So, something I'd like to add now. I just want to say something. This is coming. I'd like to read in from the Sacred Records of Atumre, the Black Book, and this is from the introductory pages. And it says here, and this, I read this. Within these sacred records, there is a hidden mystery that will unlock energies latent in each being, and your chromosomes will explode in awareness. These sacred records are not a learning tool, but a remembering tool, a tuning fork that will vibrate within the inner being and trigger the godlike powers in each of you to make you as each being one being. I'll read that again. Within these sacred records, there is a hidden mystery. Now, this is not just pertaining to the Black Book or the Sacred Records of Atumre. This is pertaining to all the scrolls. Within these, I read it like this: within these scrolls, Patorok, actual facts, the master secrets, etc., etc., there is a hidden mystery. Let's say it like this: there's a hidden my story that will unlock energies. The word there is nashat, latent in each being, that is asleep in each and every one of us. When the information, or I would say outformation, that that is being transformed into information, is very much alive. This is 9 ether knowledge that we are receiving. And 9 ether knowledge is composed of all existing chemicals, gases, formulas, and elements of natural nature. So this is what we are absorbing, and it's very much alive. And by learning, by having the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding of this 9 knowledge, will open us up to what we call a right overstanding, which will qualify us for our spiritual science and universal knowledge that we call wu-sabat or wu-nawab. And we say sound right reasoning, with reasoning being the highest form of mental processing. There's no mental processing higher than 9 reasoning. None. So as Nagara Nadu, as Negroid, 9 ether beings in physical form, we have the ability and capability to not only think like all other lower races do, as thinking, as in square. we also have the ability to reason, which is circular. That means we have the ability to mentally process anything and everything unlimited. So this is what he's saying here. Within these sacred records, within this information, these parts, master secrets, etc., there's a hidden mystery that will unlock energies latent and each being on your chromosomes. We call it a DNA explosion. It's got here. Will explode in awareness. If we substitute the word awareness for consciousness, so we say it like this, and your chromosomes will explode. You will have a DNA explosion in awareness or in consciousness. Our consciousness will start to explode, will start to expand. When anything explodes, it goes out. There's an implosion and an explosion. Our consciousness will expand because of what's written in these scrolls. These sacred records and all the information are not a learning tool, but a remembering tool. So, meaning that we forgot, now we have to remember. And within remembering, we have to realize that there are two portions to remembering. There is what we call ability to receive and recall. Ability to, there's two portions, what we receive and what we recall. So when it says these sacred records are not a learning tool, but a remembering tool, ability to remember once again. So we're able to remember and recall. There's two portions to it. A tuning fork that will vibrate within the inner being. So when you say tuning fork, what do you mean by tuning fork? What's a tuning fork used to? Wiggle your finger? What's a tuning fork?
So like one of them soundboard things that you use, or is that something else? Or is the tuning fork along with the two? That's what they're meant.
That's right. A tuning fork is a fork. That's right. Calibrate what? Sounds. Okay. So it's got here a tuning fork that will vibrate within the inner being. So it's a form of this wu-sabat, this affirmation is a form of recalibration. Okay. And what will happen? And trigger the godlike powers in each, the sahamat powers in each of you, to make you as each being one being. We become unified once again. Okay, so we unified, because everyone says that our powers lie in our unification. Okay, our strength lies in our unification. So that's coming from the sacred of Atom Ray. Before we continue, any questions, comments, observations on Clubhouse or Zoom? No questions, no comments? Okay, so we continue. Oh, go ahead, Zuma. Bob's got a question. Go ahead, Zuma.
What's the soul made out of?
Okay, we're going to come into that. Okay, good question.
What's the soul made out of?
Good question. Right. The soul and the spirit is basically, the master teacher calls it conscious energy. Okay, that's what it is. Conscious. When you say conscious, means aware. It's energy. So basically, everyone is composed of energy. Or he put conscious gas. Let me just. This is coming from a very. This is coming from a very old scroll called "What is Spirit and What is Soul." And if you go to page 126, it reads like this. It reads this. It's talking about spirits, but this is also can pertain to soul as well, and the etheric being, and what's the other one? The hu. At the same time, also pertain to our physical body. Okay? Spirits, like people, have laws of their own, and those laws are binding by nature. Since spirits are conscious gas forces, they can enter a person at will and leave at will, so long as the entering and leaving are according to the laws and codes by which they exist. So, they are conscious gases. So spirits and soul and our body is conscious gases. So going back to our mind, it's all got to do with our mind or the mental or our thoughts, because thoughts being the most powerful force in the universe. Okay, so since spirits are conscious gas forces that are awareness, they can enter a person's will and leave at will, so long as the entering and leaving are according to the laws and codes by which they exist. The fortune or misfortune, the fate of a person, largely depends upon the spirit forces that accompany him or her and the seed from which the person sprang. So just let you know that for the seed, you talk about your parents and 4 generations going back. So that have an influence on our personality. And within our within those 4 generations, mother and father, going back, grandmother, great grandmother, your grandmother, grandfather, great grandfather, blah, blah, blah. On both sides, you have agreeable and disagreeable spirits or personalities that have an influence over us. Meaning that, they say that when you're born on a particular star sign, Pisces, Sagittarius, or Capricorn, whatever. You're not just born, though that star sign or that astrological house that you are born under, not only that is influencing you, but you also got influences of your mother and father and their ancestors going back. So that has an influence over us. And those spirits or those personalities can be agreeable and or disagreeable. Okay? Sorry? Yeah, the 30 you-alls. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Let's stop there. So so the other question is, so what is soul? It's basically conscious gas, or what is made up of conscious gas. It says gas for lack of a better word, because we know that gas is still physical.
I'm not denying that. I'm saying the gas, obviously you said it's, but what kind of, is it? It's conscious gas, yeah. Is the ether? It's ether.
Yeah, it's ether.
So the ether gas, where's it coming from?
The ether gas is the ether gas is ether doesn't really have an origin, because because everything is higher. It's coming from way of, if you say if you say it has an origin, then you have to say it's from higher intelligence, because everything starts in the etheric realm. And remember, when we say the etheric realm, I haven't got it blackboard with me, but there are messages that put it like this: higher intelligence, I say it like that, or higher beings, for lack of a better word, created the etheric realm to put the 99 ethers in there, to put the physical things in there. What do I mean by that? We have the periodic table from hydrogen, and 199 elements plus 150, 120 elements on the periodic table. We also have, so that's the physical. Everything that's physical has a non-physical counterpart. So where there's H1 hydrogen, there's also an E1 etheric, the etheric counterpart to hydrogen. Or there are the way how we have 99 elements on the periodic table, there are 99 non-physical counterparts as well. However, there's a state of existence beyond that even. So that state of existence creates, birth, ether, the etheric realm, so to place the physical elements in. Meaning, the master you put like this: higher intelligence created a state of nothingness or no dot thing to place something in. So when the brother's question is, where does the ether come from? It was birthed by way of higher intelligence. A state of intelligence that is beyond our present comprehension. I didn't say beyond our comprehension, I said our present comprehension. Because as we elevate in degrees, as we said, our consciousness or our what do we say? Our awareness would. What do I say here? Our
consciousness.
Our chromosome DNA will explode in awareness. That's it. Yeah. Go ahead. Mash up the furniture.
So basically, you're saying quantum dynamics.
Beyond that.
So, okay, quantum is another form of saying quantum, which is four. So four-dimensional beings, you're saying?
No.
No?
Beyond that.
You're saying beyond?
Beyond that realm.
Beyond that realm?
Beyond the realm.
Of existence.
Beyond the realm of, if quantum is four, it was way beyond that. So you have to say higher intelligence. Higher intelligence created a state of nothingness to put something in. Or let's say they birthed or they grew a state of nothingness to put something in.
How do you determine higher intelligence?
How do you determine that? Easy. Remember that, first of all, if you look at, people say the universe, but the master said that the universes are the largest living entities in existence. But in saying that, universes also had a birth. Okay? Universes are born, they grow, they mature, they decline, and they die. So now, if universes were birthed, who or what birthed those universes? And that's the answer to your question. How you determine that? You have to say, well, the way you determine it is by the birth of the universes. So if a universe is born, that means that it had to have birth from. They had to have some form of
a source
that birthed universes.
Not ketchup sauce, but sauce.
Source. Okay. Yeah. So the question that is this, right? This is a question that we posed. One of the brothers, one brother in Jamaica, Rahotep, he did a class. Said he put a class title. He had on Clubhouse. He said how Dr. Malachi Z. York is much more intelligent than modern scientists, be they particle physicists, astrophysicists, quantum physics, the lot is far more intelligent than them all put together. And hear this. What he's doing is, he is here to raise us up to be like him, to have that type of information, knowledge, so that we become, hear this word, the authorities in what we authorize becomes authentic. So it's here to raise our intelligence. Follow?
So I can hear myself in the background. So
somebody want to say something? Okay, so let's continue. This is one long recap, isn't it? Oh no. Okay, it's just a recap from last. Okay. Okay, what we'll do, right? So we said that we have. So let's quickly go. What we'll do now, we'll go straight into it. I'm reading from Hakei book, his story. Do we live by the spirit and or the soul? I mean, it's starting from page. Everyone's got this scroll here. His story. Hang on. This question is asked. Then Ami raises. So, how did the high intelligence come into being? Good question. They was, is, and shall always be. High intelligence does not have no birth date record. Just like us, we have no birth date record. Was, is, and shall always be. Because then, to ask the question, how did high intelligence come into being? That means then there would have to be something higher than higher intelligence. I got that. I had to use that terminology. I got that terminology from reading Natural Ether Energy, and I've started reading the first page. It's got here. Hang on. I was reading Natural Ether Energy, and in there, I think the whole scroll, and by reading that scroll, it's where the master teaches, it's where I got it. I was inspired to come up with that right. High intelligence. That's the main, I don't really have you have to give a name to it. Let me read this, sorry. Let me just read this. This is coming from Natural Ether Energy, pertaining to the Den Amire's question. Natural Ether Energy, page 11. And I'm looking at first. I'm going to read verse 88. Nawapians, know this. Your brain is a reproduction factor meltdown point and emanation source for natural ether energies. To 89. There are three main material magic or matter space powers. Sayim, divine magnetic creative forces in nature. And the first and foremost are what you Raquha learned here. 1. Pa fatir al, the natural. Akh, ether, energy. 90. Explained in this papyrus for you, Munwapians. The second is Nakos, reasoning. And the third is Mu'akh, or etheric beings. So, how did the higher intelligence come into being? They was, is, and shall always be. They have no beginning and no end. I even like to use the word they. You have to say it, because the Martin put it like this. I mean, if you look at the if you look at the sun, we've got the four elements. We have the earth, we have the water, we have the air, and we have the sun. And all of these are its. The Master Jesus said, if any one of those its got taken out of the equation, we won't be here. Any one of these its. So we have to say higher intelligence would be classified as an it. And what higher intelligence has done is those creative forces that higher intelligence utilize in birthing or growing existence is endowed within each and every one of us. So we have been given, to a certain extent, autonomy. However, there are rules, governing rules and codes within the higher planes to keep what we call ma'at, or order. You follow? So we are, just like the sun, moons, and stars, and the powers that they emanate to give or bring forth life or to birth life, we have been endowed with those creative expressional forces. So it's called natural ether energy, 1, Nakush, reasoning, as I said before, reasoning is the highest form of mental processing, and mu'akh'akh'u, etheric beings. I hear this now. This is 92. Again, this is coming from Natural Ether Energy, page 12, 92. These three Tamudish creative forces and beings of nature have the saham, power and ability to cause tatmud, creation unison, or tatmum, perfection. You know the word tatmum, you hear the word atum, okay? Perfection unison in and between external matter and external bara space, and this unison is known as Saim, divine and supernatural Saham power, as they are called in Za'amat religions, mythology, theology, or the opinions of those who don't really have the Haqaq actual facts. 93. Know that invisible or fatir al nashat natural ether energies are the Saim, divine creators, by way of invisible narcos reasoning. Head of reasoning again. I'll read that again. Know that invisible to our physical eyes or fatir al nashat natural ether energies are the Saim type mad at divine creators by way of invisible narcos reasoning, and visible damak brain is the physical creators by way of natural ether energy with purpose and will, and sorry, with purpose and reason for all natural namam growth creations. This is the scroll to get. And get your copies right now before, because they, once it's gone, when you got the littles, once it's gone, it's gone. Natural ether energy. This is the one to get. Not the middle are the littles. Once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, so I hope that answers the brother's question. The all is, has always been, and always will be. How did this happen, Samal? How did the all is and has always been and always will be? How did this happen? Well, as we said before, these are higher intelligence, mental, creative forces. It's mental. These are the creative forces. He doesn't say how did that come about? Well, that's like saying it must have had a beginning, and if it had a beginning, it must have had.
A tree or what? What you drawing?
I think they've got the brother there. It's on mute. Okay. So let's. So I hope that answers your question. Then Amir. So we going. Just to answer the brother's question there about high intelligence. It's a good question. Okay, so what we're doing now, we're reading from actual fact number 73, Hakaimu, his story. Go to page 34. Before we continue, anyone got any questions, comments, and or observations? No thing to say yet? I'm going to do this exercise here. Okay, you got something, yeah.
I've got something.
You got something. Okay, right. It's been this wrong. Go ahead, Samar.
Alright, so with the explanation you gave about the soul and the spirit, so determine on how high the spirit frequency is, yeah, and the soul frequency, yeah, right. Based on the knowledge or the intelligence that you have in your genetic coding.
Okay. Repeat the question again.
Is it based on your intelligence, on your genetic coding, and how far you get in your spiritual, what's it called? Spiritual
practices.
100%.
Yes. Good question. I'm going to answer the question right now. Okay. You heard the answer now. So, page 34 in Hakeimu History. I'm starting from verse 203, and it reads, Musbatu Sabians, you must know that. Hey, who wants to read? Samantha, want to read? Sure, cool. The reason why I say Samantha is because it's good. The sisters were given a voice much long before us, and they got a better reading voice than us. Yeah. Speak. Okay, if you read it, so the sister's going to read. What's the name of that again? Sia. Okay, sister Samantha Sia's going to read page 34 from her Kehu. You start from verse 203. Read nice and slow, and say the numbers all, please, Samantha. Verse 203.
203. Musbatu Sabian, you must know the Ba'a, soul, from the Kha, spirit, as the spirit is the person related to Dayar art, desires of the body. 204. So I say, live by the Ba'a, soul, and you will not gratify the desires of the Kha, spirit, for the spirit lives by desires, that which is contrary to the Ba'a soul. 205. And the Ba'a soul, that which is contrary to the spirit, they are in conflict with each other, so that you do not do what which is. So that you do not do what that which is leads to your physical want. Yet, if you are led by the spirit person, you will not be living by wu-sabat, or its mental resurrection, sechem, power, nupu.
If you jump to stop there for a minute. So, like Zamal said, it's by our, for lack of a better word, spiritual practices is what we are doing to strengthen our soul. But there's a conflict between the spirit and the soul. So our physical desires, not to say we should be devoid of desires, because not having a thing does not equate to not wanting a thing. So the thing is to have control over our desires, you see, but not go to extremes and saying you live a spiritual life, live like a hermit, you go up to the mountains and you breathe in and out 15 times, whatever, you know. So the thing is that we are here on the physical plane to experience, be they agreeable and or disagreeable. We're here to experience and we're here to learn, but we're meant to learn to have control, or have governance over our desires. We are here in the West, and we can say that the environment is not conducive to our well-being. However, we have the ability and capabilities to adapt or create the environment that is conducive to our well-being until that time arrives where we will have the ability and capability to depart from this environment and go live in an environment that was created by way of us, for us. And when I say go to an environment created by us, for us, I mean, when I say the us, I'm talking about the higher beings. And we know what area on the planet Earth was created for us, which is the pole. I know the risk is going to the South Pole. I know not North Pole. Yeah, it's Africa, okay? Africa, the best part of the planet Earth, created by us, the Assyrians, for us, the Nagara Nadu, okay? So continue reading, Samantha. If you go to 208, please.
Yet Musbatu Sabians, The divine seed of the Ba'a soul is Ashuk, divine love, joy, harmony, peace, order, justice, patience, kindness, goodness, devotion, gentleness, and self-control. Control of the spirit against such things are as dayar, desire.
Stop there. Here it is. You just read something. Samantha, please, can you read 208 again, please?
Yet, Musbatu Sabians, the divine seed of the Ba'a soul is Ashuk, divine love, joy, harmony, peace, order, justice, patience, kindness, goodness, devotion, gentleness, and self-control. Control of the spirit against such things as dayar, desire.
If you just stop there, I want to read an excerpt going back again from natural ether energy about just that. Hold on, let me just find the quote. Right, here it is. "197. So you hear in 208, you can see that here you heard that you can see or you can hear that the link we read that the link of the soul is a shuk, or the divine seed of the Ba'at soul is a shuk. And let's read page 20 from Natural Ether Energies. I'm reading 197. If bear that in mind, we just read 9 ether and etheric beings and their offsprings, which is us, because we're the offspring of 9 etheric beings in human form, are such because they follow the rules of natural nature and order. Natural nature, fatir al-fatara, natural nature and order, ma'at, in all they do. 198. Eat, live, they cooperate with others in the rules of cooperation. They are cooperative in all things. That is a shock. Just read it there. Okay, things that feed the soul. It is now 199. Subtle akh, 6 ether and etheric beings of 6 ether and their offspring. In this case, Kakas Nadu, Gogosoids, are such because they do not follow the rules of natural nature and order, making them fatir al, unnatural, and out of order. The word we put this word for about chaos by nature. 200. They refuse to cooperate with others in the natural rules of cooperation, and they are not cooperative in all things. To see what this means, you only have to see their way of life and living. Well, it should really be called death and dying. Such as they induce false pregnancy just to give ladud, birth. So that is unnatural. It goes on to say everything that they do, they must intake lots of caffeine for khatat al, physical stimulation, to start the body each morning. That is unnatural. 202, they must intake lots of alcohols to stimulate them before they can enjoy others or socialize, which most often results in adverse actions of violence and accidents. That is unnatural. 203, they must take in all kinds of medications, drugs, which is unnatural. We take them in as well because we don't have the knowledge of herbology and etc. etc. And they know that it doesn't cure you. What's the matter?
When you say that goes to the Nagaras as well.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? 100%. That's right. That is when we live in the image and after the likeness of other than self and kind. When we're not living by way of ashok. or we said not living by way of the soul. Okay, so that's very interesting. If you that's it, Samantha. There's more reading to that particular. Tap back to my tap for the reading.
In your scientific breakdown of synergy, which is togetherness, would you say the electronic devices that we use is synergy?
Well, okay, you know that synergy is a very good point there, because synergy really is cooperation. It's people being cooperative. Synergy is defined as when two or more forces combine to produce an outcome, a result, or results greater than if done individually. Okay, so when you talk about our electronic devices, it can be used constructively or destructively. It can be used as a means of bringing together individuals, or could be used as a means of segregation or being disenfranchised. You follow? So that which is agreeable can be used can be fashioned into a disagreeable form. You follow? So it's like your credit card. Your credit card can be used positively, or you can use it negatively. It depends on the holder, you see. The brother asked the question earlier on about intelligence. Is that the soul, the development of the soul? I'd rather repeat it again, yeah. I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah, go ahead, Shema.
If the RNA is in the spirit and the DNA is in the soul, would that mean the intelligent gene pool? Yeah, basically what I'm saying. Would it mean that the intelligence of the Garus are somewhat lacking because of the mixing throughout the ages?
Right, yes, good question. The answer is it's the intelligence is lacking in the sense of being under the spell or being asleep or latent. I mean, we read earlier on how, could you read that again from the Black Book? It says, within these sacred records, there is a hidden mystery that unlocks energies latent in each being on your chromosomes. We talk about DNA and RNA, you see. And the intelligence that's within the nucleus, the DNA houses the chromosomes, the houses, etc., etc. Okay, so it's that what he's saying here is that this right knowledge will open up those locked doors. It will open up, and it's got here, and your chromosomes will explode in awareness or consciousness. So over the last 6,000 years, we've been put to sleep deliberately. However, if you go to the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it reads, and God said, Elohim said, these beings said, let us make man, Adam, in our image, look like us, and after our likeness, act like us, and let them have dominion, which is rulership or power over the fish of the sea, birds, blah, 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 blah. That dominion was only for 6,000 years. So when it says let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, fowl of the air, etc., that was only for a time period. That was in accordance with that they would only be able to do that if that was given to them or have higher intelligences. And that could only happen during the 6,000 year moon cycle. So they were only given 6,000 years to do their debauchery. That's, however, the Caucasoids, they have, or the Adamites, we should say, the pale red rider beans, overstepped their mark. And they pleaded for an extension, but they never received it. And what the Master Teacher said is that they were given an expiration date, meaning within their chromosomes, on each chromosome, on the tip of each chromosome, there are what's referred to as telomeres. 3 telomeres on each stem, chromosome stem, XY, on the X's, 2 X's, or X and Y of the male, 2 X's of the female, 2 X's of the male. The length of the chromosomes determines the length of the lifespan of the individual or races. Of all the races on the planet Earth, the Nagara Nadu has the longest and most chromosomes. The Caucasoids have the least amount of chromosomes. Okay, and because they have the least amount of chromosomes, means that they have less telomeres, and they have the shortest of telomeres. So it is. So when the master teacher says that by the year 2030 there'll be no more Caucasians walking the planet Earth, it's really referencing those. If the Caucasoid male, it's only the Caucasoid female, like I said before, in order to maintain the longevity of the Caucasoid Salau, the Caucasoid race, the kind of Caucasoid race, they need to mix in with other races, especially the Nagara Nadu Negroid race. I'm talking about the feminine need to do that. However, if the Kakas Nadu Vanas Satu, Caucasoid female mixes with the Nagara Nadu, the offspring will actually be what they call it. They will actually be bipolar, really, but the dominant gene will preside, and the Caucasoid male, he would fade out of existence, because the Caucasoid male is what we refer to as 5 etheric being. So the power lies within the Femi-6, the female, the Kakas Nadu, feminine. So but what will happen is the Negroid gene would predominate. So no matter what they do, they will still fade out of existence. And right now, as we speak, and they are saying this, according to their statistics, they have reached, especially in the UK and especially in Europe as well, they have reached that tipping point of no return, meaning that they cannot give birth enough to maintain the longevity of their race. And there's nothing they can do about it. And they know it. So with their 6 ether mindset, they're saying, if we have to go, guess what? I'm taking as many people with me as I can of all races. And the master said, no matter what they do, they're not going to be successful. Or let's put another way, as Musbatu Sabians of wu-sabat, the future is bright. End of. So, okay, so let's continue reading this. Do we read this way, didn't we? Oh yeah, this might talk about that. Any questions on Zoom or Clubhouse? No more questions, comments, or observation? All right, let's continue reading. I want to read from page.
So as a question. It's from Den Ami Raye 999.
Go ahead, sir.
What's a day like living on planet Risk? What kind of things do Ha Mozaku do on a day-to-day basis?
Good question, brother. At the first opportunity, if I'm one of those that's fortunate enough to get on the crafts and go to Risk, I may actually be on the list to tell you this is what happens and that happens, right? The master teacher did explain in Man from Planet Risk, if I can recollect, what they do on Risk. But me, physically, in the physical form, I have never been to Risk. I'm also I've never been to China or India to know what they do on a day-to-day basis. So, so sorry, brother. on this occasion, I have to say pass on that question, brother. Unless any other brother, any other student teacher of the master teacher could answer that question, I mean, they could go ahead, man. Rahubat.
Of course, definitely cannot advocate to read myself out of the big there. However, Black Book Part 2, that's kind of like explain a bit more about the Anunnaki and the Riskians and how they conduct themselves. So the brother Den Ami Reye, if you check out the Black Book Part 2.
Brother, do you have like? Can you read like an excerpt? Can you share an excerpt for the brother?
I do not have that available right now with me.
Oh, okay.
I'll look for it later on, closer to the end of the class.
Cool. All right, there's the last hand. So then Amir Ray, the brother said he would try and seek out the answer to your questions. Okay. So again, going back to okay, let's continue reading. So we know now that that we live by the soul and not the spirit. And what feeds the spirit, or the food for the spirit?
Do you have a question on Zoom?
Oh, go ahead.
In the chat. It says precisely where the location is Shambhala. How often do beings come and go from there, and what business is it having activez?
Right. Where is the location to Shambhala? Well, the master teacher said that there are many, many different points to enter into Shambhala, such as the Himalayan mountains, the Gobi Desert, the North Pole, the South Pole, the pyramids, certain points in America. I don't know. I know it's Mount Sashta. Don't get me on that. I think Mount Sasha is one of the points. I think the Bermuda Triangle could be another point. So there are many hidden entrances into Shambhala, and many different extraterrestrials reside in vast caverns that are within Shambhala. Some agreeable, some disagreeable beings, such as the Diwanis, the Dunukal, the Dunakil, the Sumnanans, the Deros, the Teros. These are just some of the names that come to mind. And also, if you do some research on some guy by the name of Admiral Byrd, who I think in the 1930s flew down to Antarctica and entered into Shambhala. But when you think about it, but when you actually do research on this guy, Admiral Byrd, you realize that it's like how they trying to portray the image is like he was just flying one day in a plane, and he just happens to be in Antarctica, and a tractor beam pulled him into Shambhala. But you do some research, you find that the fleet of military personnel with him. So they were going to Antarctica for a designated purpose. They knew what they were looking for. You see? So seek out, do some research on Admiral Byrd. You find that it wasn't just him, one and another dude flying in some little plane. No, they had a fleet of people, military people. They went there for something. You know what, to try to gain access to Shambhala. Okay, so I hope that answered that question. Okay, so let's continue reading by the Spirit and by the Soul. And before let me just quickly reset the room. Right, once again, this is wu-sabat. This is another wu-sabat class by us, student teachers of the master teacher from around the world. I am Habtu Ray Atam Hatab, and we are here at nashat.co.uk, welcome you all to class every Saturday from 7 to 9. And once again, make the announcement for all newcomers and those who consider themselves Nawapians or Musbatu Sabians or would like to become Musbatu or Munwapo Sabians, Nawapians, to become part of the community. There's a you can join our community by accessing this link here. I think the brothers could post it up on Telegram or not Telegram, post it on Clubhouse or Zoom, and it's nashat.co.uk/join-our-community. Okay, you can join and you can register and get more details about our classes and how you can assist in bringing the people together, propagation and learning, wanting to teach, you have teachers class, etc., etc. If you want to be part, no restrictions. Okay. Okay. I just want to continue reading this from. Has anybody else got any more questions? Is there any more questions on Zoom or Clubhouse? No more questions. Okay, let's continue reading from Hakehu. His story. This is artifact number 73, and I'll start from verse 212. You who sows to feed the Baha's soul from the ether will reap eternal wajud and existence as an Etherean and oversoul. A cours, oversoul. 213. Think more of your Baha's soul and less of your kashar flesh, so also as you have the opportunity while in the kashar flesh. 214. Be worried good to all persons, especially to those who belong to the Sha'ab tribe. If someone is caught in wickedness, they are weak. You who are strong should restore them gently, yet watch yourself, or you also may be tempted to change as well. Be careful. Nasara, help each other with each other's burdens, and in this way you will both become strong. The master teacher put it like this: the strong can only help the weak if the weak are willing to be helpful. If anyone thinks they are great when they are not, they only deceive themselves, and Waqut time will reveal they are nothing more than others. They're the same. 215. Each one should test their own actions by way of wu-sabat. Then you can take pride in yourself without comparing yourself to somebody else. I'll stop there. One thing I do advocate, and that is called introspection on a daily basis, meaning that take time to take the journey inward and look at yourself and analyze yourself and your actions, and to recap or go over your day, that's a really, really good way of self-development. It's called becoming self-analytical introspection. Okay, looking at yourself. Go ahead, Simon.
You have Amun Ma'at with a hand raised.
Oh, go ahead, Amun Ma'at. Amun Ma'at, want to say something?
Oh, Tower, I ain't have my hand. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Tower,
to yourself. Okay, let's continue. Right. I was going to read this again. So this is coming from his story. 216. Because each one should carry their own load in life, yet help one another to truth and facts, and explain away hopes and faith, which only leads to fears and fright. 217. Do not be afraid of Mawat, death. It is your qadar fate. and faith that it will not yatui come, will not alter your fate. As a living, dying, physical chayei creature, welcome mawat death as you welcome ladad birth. Greet the Ba'at soul as you greeted the newborn Harad child with a Bassam smile. 218. I'm going to stop there. Life and death. We have been given misinformation on about almost everything you could think of, even death. Because death is not the finality of existence. We think that once a person dies, that's it, bam, then no more of an existence. I wonder why would somebody want to propagate that type of mindset? That when you die, that's it. Lights go out and that's it. End of. Full stop. The movie's over and you go home and they burn the film. Now, there is what we call Hadith, life after death. And we as Tamarians, we knew that. That's why we developed that Ramaz, that symbol or that of the Ankh. Which people often say is the key to eternal life, or the key to eternal life after death. But what we as Musbatu, what Baba Yananan has done, he says, let's upgrade that and not just call it the Ankh, but we now call it the Ankh Tui, the double resurrection, or the hereafter. So we no longer.
I said Amun Ma'at. He's had his hand up. I've tried to bring him up on stage a few times, but it won't let me. So maybe another moderator can try. But it's Amun Ma'at. He's got his hand up.
Amun Ma'at. Okay. Somebody bring Amun Ma'at up?
So I've just tried as well. This doesn't seem to be coming up. Maybe if you could come out and try and access it again on Clubhouse, that might work.
Okay. So while you're waiting for the brother to come up, can you read this? 218. Pan al-Ar'u, the overseers, clearly says that in latter waqud at times, some Musbat or Sabians will abandon wu-sabat and follow deceiving persons and things taught by demons. This is like a premonition, not premonition, what do you call it? Looking into the future, yeah. That's what it says here. The overseers clearly says that in latter waqud times, which we're in right now, some Musbat or Sabians will abandon wu-sabat and follow deceiving persons and things taught by demons. Such teachings, Yatui, come with hypocritical liars whose conscience, meaning they know right from wrong, but they're not deploying right from wrong. In a minute, has been invaded by specters of sixth ether. So he's talking about possession, having nothing to do with their myths, and legends and tales, their stories, his stories of faith and belief, with no hakak actual facts, only hopes of takhlas, salvation, and anach, eternal life in the physical. Only zombie bodies rose from the physical death, and Mashui walked the earth. Be not fooled. Oh, okay. Hold on. Put it back right there, brother. Right. 219. The true you, your Ba'at soul, can never perish, spoil, or fade. If you are remembered for your good done while you lived in the kashal flesh. Being remembered is eternal living in the aqal at mind and abab at hearts of those you did well by. They keep you alive as to our own nasabu relatives and offspring. You live on in their physical yakhasa genes. So do not fear mawat death. It is not the end, only a new extended wajud and existence. So he's saying here that do not fear death because your good works will live on in the hearts and minds of those of your progeny. Okay? It is said that we should do at least one great thing that we are remembered for. Okay? And there's a movie, I said this last class. We said this last class. There's a movie that goes into this. It's a children's movie called Coco. Seek out the movie Coco. You seen that one? Yeah. That goes into it. That's really, really close. You know, that walk with that filament or that bridge, and how you remember your Muslafu ancestors, the Munsaba, your relatives who's crossed over. Remember them because that's what keeps them alive. Okay, you always remember our Muslafu. That's why the Baba Yanunun advocated that we create an altar and we keep the altar clean, and because that's like a gateway, like a vortex, or like a vortex, a gateway for your ancestors to enter in. Okay. And when you remember your ancestors, you know, again, these are practices to the development and growth and expansion of our soul. Okay. 220. Musbat all Sabians. And when you ask, how do you know for actual fact that spirit is real and exists? You simply say, by way of the newborn baby. 221. It knows to bakui cry before taught. It knows to basum smile before being taught. It knows its muldatak mother without being told. 222. The spirit has natural instinct passed on from the mother and father's DNA, which themselves, all 24,000 genomes, do not interact in this tapal world. For a newborn to know these things is spiritual. Let's stop there. Have you ever noticed? Ask yourself this question: how does a bird know how to build a nest? Does it go to bird school? Yeah. It knows these things, which is etheric, which is outside of the physical. I mean, it knows how to do these things, which is spiritual. And if they ask you, how do you know the Ba'a soul is real and exists? You say, as that Kharaj child grows around or away from either Manash parent, no matter how far apart, or even if the growing Kharaj child never meets one or the other Manash parent, the one with the Kharaj child will see the other in not just how the Kharaj child looks, but also how it acts. Its likes and dislikes, its habits, good and bad, its emotional attitude. That is Ba'a soul. So, let's have a one-parent child. It says a parent must play the mother and child. Even though the father's not around, the expressions or the emotional expression of that child is soul. Obviously, pertaining here to an adult child. That is soul. And there's certain characteristics that are inherent in the child that is not coming from the mother. So it would have to come from the father. Or it could come by way of one of the other 30 spirits. But the mother and father are the strongest, along with the other influences. Okay, but the mother and father are the strongest.
You have a question on Zoom, Jamal.
Go ahead, Jamal. On Zoom.
It's from Kwame L. Bay.
Go ahead.
What are the benefits of tachyon energy and how can we use it on a daily basis?
Tachyon energy, good question. Now, on Tamare, we had what we call Black Pyramid, Black Mirror. And we had what we call the Mogaraj. It was like a rite or a ritual, a Mogaraj. And what that ritual entailed was there were like 12 long paths and 12 short paths, I can remember, going clockwise and counterclockwise. And what that was doing, so you had the mirror in the center, you had water around it, which was flowing, and you had like a labyrinth. You had a labyrinth. And you go in and turn, you had a short path, a long path, short path, long path, okay, going clockwise, then going counterclockwise, going back. And what that was doing is it was recalibrate your DNA. Now, but by way of tachyon energy. What do you mean by that? The master said the shape of the pyramid, the main shape of the pyramid emits tachyonic energy or tachyonic frequencies, which is similar to the shape of the DNA, the double helix. And what it was doing is it would recalibrate our DNA from what was it? A negative, positive, negative from a negative, positive, negative to a positive, negative, positive to a positive, positive. So it would recalibrate our DNA so that we'd be able to receive higher information. So or for a means of expanding our consciousness or awareness. So that's what tachyon energy does to your human body. The master also went on to say that extraterrestrial crafts will go over the pyramids and utilize that same energy to recharge their ships. Just like today, how we have the electric vehicles, and you plug it into a charging point to charge up your vehicle. Well, that's what extraterrestrial crafts will do. They go over like the pyramid structures and recharge up their ships. Now, if you look at the definition of a tachyon energy, the dictionary, it says they regard the definition is a hypothetical subatomic particle that travels faster than the speed of light. And the master teacher corrected that and said it's not hypothetical, it's an actuality. Subatomic particle that travels faster than the speed of light. I hope that helped somehow. I'm just going off what I can remember from the scroll, unless somebody else wants to build on that. Okay. So continue. Any more questions on Clubhouse or Zoom or in the house?
Talking about the speed of light, I mean, on the update I was reading briefly before I got in, it said that astronauts, when they go beyond that speed, yeah, they don't age. How comes?
Right. That's a good question. Hey, this. We can't go beyond the speed of light in our physical form anyway, because you're dead. That's why you won't be able to age. Because yeah, we cannot go beyond the speed of light in the physical form because our body will disintegrate. So unless you are we can't do it, not in the physical form. So we would have to transform. But I hear what you're saying. But continue.
So you're saying the speed of light is less than what we think?
Yes. How do you mean?
In terms of thought patterns, so thought is faster than the speed of light.
That's right.
Speed of light is just a myth, or is it the light speed equivalent to thought?
Okay, good question. Now, the speed of thought is faster than the speed of light, because we know that the speed of light is 186,272 miles per second, and the speed of thought is 24 million miles per moment. as an Agarinadu. So it's, and you know how the distance between one thought and the next is you can't get a ruler to measure that. That's how close it is. So the speed of thought of a Nagarinadu Negroid is 24 million miles per moment. And so the Caucasian, their speed of thought is 24 million miles a second.
Due to the pineal gland calcifying, or is it just their spiritual being?
I think to the genetic makeup, the whole genetic makeup. When we say the speed of thought, when we say thought or thinking, you have to look at, we're talking about the communication between neurons, between one neuron and another neuron, and the communication networks, the synapses. So the time it takes for one synapse to travel to another, the time it takes for a synapse to travel from one neuron, brain cell, to the next, it travels at the speed of 24 million miles per moment. For Nagarinadu, and for Caucasian, it takes 24 million miles per second. And moments are faster than a second. And we know the speed of light is 186,272. So, that helps about?
Back to the spirit.
Oh.
Yeah?
Okay,
I'm going deep now.
I'm going deep now, okay.
So basically,
I'm going to get the lifeboat.
You're saying, yeah. Okay. Remember, if it's the speed, yeah, we're accessing the point of moments, yeah, because the synapses, yeah. So determine on the soup, on the brain, yeah. Soup in the brain,
yeah.
How high does it go? Because basically the age of Caucasian mentality is 13 years old. Hence why they're doing what they're doing today. Yeah. So therefore the growth of a Nagaru brain intelligence is what then?
It's up to a 19-year-old.
Oh, so we're not using our full capacity, you're saying?
Yeah. So when you're using full capacity, 100% brain capacity, that's unlimited.
Okay, so 90% we're using.
Right,
19%. So in terms of saying that now, the society is built around Caucasian society.
That's right.
So therefore, the Garus into Caucasian society are somewhat formulating the Caucasian mentality of thought.
That's right. That's
right. Okay.
Wait. Can you repeat that? Sorry, because this is deep.
Let's go deep.
All right. I said let's go deep. All right. The society we're living in, yeah, everyone's working, everyone's going to parties, everyone's doing what they're doing, right? So the Caucasian's mentality, seeing that we're living in a society of the 13-year-old brain soup, because the brain soup doesn't go any higher than that, and where for the Garu's brain soup goes 19%, sorry. That means we're living in the Caucasian's mentality, yeah, in society, where we're kind of emulating we're emulating the Caucasian society, meaning that we want money, we want fast cars, we want a house, we don't want to live in our natural nature. So therefore, if we go back to natural nature, or 19% brain capacity, we live in a higher form of information intellect. All right?
100%. If we, everything said is a natural fact. We are a product of the environment that we live in. So if we are ascribing and subscribing to a society or an environment that wasn't constructed by us nor for us, we become a derivative or a product of that environment. So we begin to think and act like them who created this environment. Or let's put another way, we become hypnotized in the environment that we're in. And because we are hypnotized, that means then that we won't be firing on all 9 cylinders. Top will be 6 cylinders, if that. However, those 6 cylinders doesn't mean that we are mandated to stay in that mode. There has always been warners over the years coming with right knowledge. And the master's job here is to finish off the journey, to break the spell and impart upon us wu-sabat 9 ether knowledge. So we do start firing on all 9 cylinders. So meaning that it's like this. In the black book, the master teacher said like this, and we all say this in every time most of our classes. You could put a spell on a person, or you could spell the word. Meaning, you could, by way of the spoken word and the written word, you could spellbind a person or hypnotize a person by the spoken word or the written word. But by what you hear and what you read, we can become hypnotized. Follow? So hear this though. But what we hear and what we read can also break the spell of ignorance. So the same methodology that was used, or that is used, what was used and what is being used to enforce the spell, we use the same methodology to reverse the spell. Meaning, if we've been given wrong knowledge, guess what we do? We reverse that by giving, say it like you mean it. Right knowledge. I'm your friend, I'm family here. To reverse wrong knowledge, we receive right knowledge. Say it, right knowledge. Right knowledge counteracts wrong knowledge. So that's it. It's simple, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. Nadum.
Go ahead, Zama.
Rahul again. Just to expand a bit on the time and age and how you stop aging. There's an update which talks about galaxies overlap, so they're really closer than we realize. Time is like a spiral. Think of a wheel on a bike. Can you hear me? Can I be heard?
You can heard, Zama.
Right.
Happy,
It
just mute
speeds.
your mic.
Okay.
It speeds so fast that while that wheel appears to be spinning backwards, time is a spiral, and you go past a certain speed, you stop aging. And that is why, for instance, you have extraterrestrial beings, ETs, and interdimensional beings, IDBS. Interdimensional beings are those like Gabriel, who's been seen throughout the Bible by Abraham in the plains of Mamre in the Torah, and to Daniel and Mary in the New Testament. He always appears the same. The technology they have, they can actually program their devices where they can set it to appear at a certain time and they will not age. So that was a update from Partner Babianon. I can't remember the actual thing, but I'll post it. I will post it in the forum for those who need to refer to it. Should I read that again?
Please, Zama. Tau.
Okay. So an update from Partner Babianon. Galaxies overlap, so they are really closer than we realize. Time is like a spiral. Think of a wheel on a bike. It speeds so fast that that wheel appears to be spinning backwards. Time is a spiral, and as you go past a certain speed, you stop aging. And that is why, for instance, you have extraterrestrial beings and interdimensional beings just like Gabriel, those like Gabriel, who has been seen throughout the Bible by Abraham in the plains of Mamre in the Torah, and to Daniel and Mary in the New Testament. He always appears the same. The technology they have, they can actually program their devices where they can set it to appear at a certain time and they will not age. The Kaaba is actually where the computer was in the garden, so it goes into another build. But yeah, so that's the breakdown about not aging. I hope that assists the
Tata Sama. So here is though. And we
Jamal,
have
you had another question on Clubhouse as well by EF. Earth,
go ahead.
Earth, Wind and Fire. That's the name. Is to want wealth evil? Is to want wealth an Adamite mentality?
Repeat that question again, please.
Is to want wealth evil? Is to want wealth an Adamite mentality? So he's asking if wealth, wanting wealth, an Adamite mentality or evil.
No. What is that we have been given the best, we have been endowed with natural nature, the higher beings endowed us with unlimited wealth. What it is that what makes it evil is how when wealth is placed in the hands of the individual or individuals and how they utilize that wealth is what makes it agreeable or disagreeable or evil. So it's not wealth is not an Adamite construct. The mentality of using the wealth as a form of manipulation is evil. You follow that? Mm-hmm. So wealth can be used to enhance a race or a planet, or it can be used to keep a race or a planet in a state of being disenfranchised, to being in a form of servitude. That's what has happened on the planet Earth. You're talking about people, like the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergers and all those politicians. Yeah, those are politricks, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Multiple technology. That's how it's in language, isn't it? Those in those prominent positions, they got the bucks, but they use it as a form of manipulation. Mm. So that is evil. That mindset is evil. But if you got wealth and you use it to uplift your race or your country, that can only be agreeable. Now hear this. Wasn't that what Gaddafi was doing? Didn't Colonel Gaddafi do that? He wanted to bring in a one world, one African currency. Did he want to do that? Mm. Wasn't he providing for his country? But those principalities in high places saw that and said, let's put an end to that. See? So it's those. So what it is that wealth is it's not evil, or wealth is not bad. Wealth just is. So it just depends on the individual or individuals that have that wealth in their possession and how they utilize that wealth towards the upliftment or as a form of manipulation. That's what makes it evil. So I hope that helps, Simone. Oh, whoever asked the question. E, open the fire. Anyone got any more questions they'd like to ask? On the house, on the floor, on Clubhouse, Zoom? On the house, on the floor. Got a question? Yeah. And the one on the mic. That's it.
What do you mean by on the house on the floor?
Oh, no, so you guys, on the floor, in the house.
Oh, that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Those on the floor. Yeah.
Oh, on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey, you guys. You've got any questions you'd like to ask?
Nothing at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
later.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So I'm going to come to this question about the Caucasian and the soup, but the brain soup. Now, here it is. Let's answer that question. Can you remember the question that you had about the mental processing and the brain soup? Go ahead.
If the mental process of a Caucasian is 13 years old, and the mental process of a Gagaru is 19 years, 90%, right? 90 to 19, right?
19-year-old.
19-year-old, yeah. So I was saying, because the brain soup doesn't go any higher in their mind state, are we living in the Caucasians? You answered that question. The next question I have on that is, if the DNA is corrupted, so it's corrupted, and scientifically, if it's a computer analogy, let's say, so computers use defragging software to analyze the computer to say this has got A and B horse or Trojan horse, let's say, in the computer, so therefore the Trojan horse has to get deleted.
Yeah.
Right. So therefore, if the Kangaroo has the Trojan horse in its DNA, and how is that implemented to get rid of it?
Right. So defragmentation in the DNA basically means that it needs to be rewritten. Okay. And the only way that can be rewritten is by having the right knowledge. That's it. That's simple. The right knowledge will rewrite the mindset, okay, or the thought patterns, etc. Because so that's it. Needs to be rewritten. So it needs to be right by way of right knowledge. The master teacher I've got it here with me. It's called the neuroscience of wu-sabat, wu-sabat. And when you say neuroscience, you're talking about the science of neuroplasticity. So this knowledge that we're receiving is a form of neuroplasticity, meaning the ability for us to rewrite our own program. Now, putting into the brain soup, the brother uses the word brain soup. What he's saying is that there's in order for us to think at our optimum, there's certain things that need to happen inside of us. And this is what I'm reading, what happens here. Let's read this. Let me see now. Let me start from, this is from, it's called Natural Ether Energy, Actual Fact number 25. And let's start from 54, and it reads, when a shakhas, person, experiences ta'shur, emotion, as in the case of soul beings, ba'a mukwanhu, it's written somewhere in another direction, bringing the nervous system to ecstasy, or jarid mustal, sexual intercourse, bringing the excitement of orgasm, you feel the meltdown of amal-ish, active natural ether energies. 55. When a person sees fatil al-akh nashat, natural ether energies melting down into configuration or the matrix, the akal al-mental mathematical mathematical, you can explain what you just said here. 56. Although all the fatir al-aq nashatat, natural ether energies are the same everywhere in all wajub and existence, what in fact causes the differences in their creation or ladud birth and namamat growths and sounds, smells, feelings, tastes, and nawana colors by sight, as in dreams and basur visions, are the very quality of kind of madad material that they are houses vibrating or melting down in. So what Bob is saying here is that natural ether energies are the same, but what makes them different is the vibration and also what they are melting down in. Meaning, for something to melt down, if anything melts down, that means that what is involved is H, heat. Okay, so you talk about vibration and heat that creates the differences. I can explain a bit more. This goes back to the brother's question about the brain soup. 58. So you breathe in, you Nagara, now the Negroids, breathe in much more oxygen, or O8, on an atomic element chart, colorless, odorless, gaseous, chemical, essential for life process and to combustion to create heat. Need oxygen to create heat. 59. So you Nagaru or Negroids have a wider nose for good Nakush reason. 60. Your intake of more air, which ignites your solar plexus, and create a fire in the solar plexus, and your body temperature is higher than Kakas or the Caucasians, so you have more Kharudu children and faster than them. That is why they mix with you, Afaf, Re, Ka'au Africans. Or they, 61, or they will die off because they're Barasi, leprosy in the Yakhasa genes. I mean, he's talking about earlier on about the Caucasians, in order for them to have any form of longevity on this planet, they need to mix in. Okay. I want to stop there because I want to focus on this section here, whereby about the heat and the brain soup, because so you come back to 58. So you breathe in more oxygen, much more oxygen on the atomic element chart. A colorless, odorless gases, chemicals essential for life, process, and combustion. So 59. So you Nagaru Negroids have a wide nose for good Nakush reason. So what gives us the ability to think quickly that all other races, apart from our Yakhasa genes and our nose are wide, so we take in more oxygen. The more oxygen we take in, there's a combustion that takes place inside our bodies within the solar plexus, and it ignites the blood, and that ignition helps to fuel the communication from one neuron to the next. So there must be an optimum temperature range that is needed for to have the ability to reason. And he said that the Caucasians do not have that. Their body, the heat within inside of them does not raise up to the required level for them to reason or to think straight. That's why they do what they do. That's what he's saying. Okay. Had a question, brother?
Yeah, I was going to
pass. I'll get pulled into the office. Could someone pass the brother to the mic? Go to the mic, bro.
After your questions on in the class Samal, can you take some questions on Zoom?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask, so you're implying us as black people are we superior to other races, like just by default?
100%. In that is an actual fact. We are superior in all directions. In all directions.
But then, if we were like just superior, just naturally, then wouldn't we be running the world, for example?
That's another good question. Now, the reason why we're not running the world is because we've been hypnotized. Okay, and we've been hypnotized, and but that's also part of a greater plan. For the last 6,000 years, we was living in what's referred to in the moon cycle. Now, the moon cycle, that 60-year period was a cycle of in a cycle of servitude. And what was happening in that cycle, the females were placed in servitude. So they too, their powers were also cut off. Because remember, the feminines are our deities. So their powers was cut off.
You're saying our God is just a woman?
The woman, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. The reason for that, is because they have everything. If you look at the circle and the square, they are the circle infinite and we are the square finite. Or if you look at genetically, going into science, they have two X chromosomes. All humans have two X chromosomes. We have an X and a Y chromosome. And the Y chromosome is a defective chromosome. It has 2.8% less genetic material. Now, you may think that 2.8% less genetic material, it's only that little bit, but that little bit is a big deal. That means instead that they have two X chromosomes, fully functional. We have an X and a Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is a deficient chromosome. And that deficient chromosome basically means that we have less genetic material than them. Everything in their bodies works. Everything in our body doesn't work.
So yeah, I don't want to cut off. Yeah, I knew that. That. Fair enough. But then who's our God then?
Yeah,
exactly is it then?
Okay, it's the female first, then the male. But let's put it like this. This. You know why? Okay, first we'll say like this. The female did not need a male to procreate. They have what's referred to as parthenogenesis, the ability to give birth without the aid of a male. There's a gland that inside them, which is called a Bartholin gland, that was maimed. That's why you as a feminine no longer have the ability to procreate by yourself because it's maimed. Once that's fixed, then what's our role going to be? Hunter-gatherer.
I heard that, yeah.
I'll say anyways, but okay, so
I want to stretch out. I was just gonna ask, cool, who's the deity then? Like, what's their name?
Yeah. Your mum.
Is it? So my mum's my God.
Yeah. But anyways, let's add a bit more to that, okay?
It's hard to get my head around that because calling another human being God to me, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I'm trying to learn at the same time.
Yeah. Why? Because we say your mother, you're talking about M other. In terms of mathematical configuration, the M, say mother, M in Roman numerals, that M is 1,000. 1, 0, 0, 0. And those zeros also has meaning, which we say space, matter, and time. So all those zeros have a significance. They are complete beings in all directions. But in saying that, right now, if someone said to you, who is your creator? who is your deity, you'd have to say, my mother and my father are my personal creators with the help of the forces of nature, thus making the forces of nature our impersonal creators and our mother and father our personal creators. So when a man ejaculates into the female, certain forces, invisible or etheric forces, has to take place. So there are forces that help in bringing those conditions together, and to when the sperm fertilizes the egg and for growth to occur, there are forces, etheric forces, that help to perpetuate those processes. So who is our creator? Our mother and father are our...
Yeah, one last thing. So does that mean then, say if I want to pray now.
If you're sorry?
Say if I want to pray.
Yeah.
Do I pray to my mom? Or is like prayer not a belief?
No, it's good. Good question. You don't need to pray to your mum if she's around.
You just talk to her.
Yeah. It is. You talk to your mum because your mum's there. You talk to your dad, dad's there. But say your mother passed on now, she's in the other realm. You pray. Oh, let's change the word for pray. Your mother's crossed over to the higher abode. You talk to your mum. But guess what they do? They use the word pray. But even that is a trick. Because you see watching the wildlife animals and see the animals, you see the cheetah preying on Bambi. So they use it, prey, like predator. So, but because your mother and father are here, you don't need to pray to them, you talk to them. But you say your mother and father or your mother crossed over and you wanted help for your mother, you talk to her, but the word they use is pray. So using the word...
But how do you know it's her that you're talking to, though?
You know how you know?
Because can't a demon just impersonate your mother?
No, it is. Your thought, the mere fact you're thinking of your mother and you've got the image of your mother, your thought is so powerful that you think of your mother and what she done and you just talk to her. But they use the word pray. But really pray is really just talking. Whether it's verbally or mentally, it's still communication. You follow? So that's a bit of a trick. You see the added trick trap? Yeah. So if you say it is though, could you say a word pray? So your mother's alive. Pray to your mother. Mum is saying, yeah. And here it is. This is how we communicate. This is how you got the brother saying this. This is how we greet each other. You know, the Chinaman, they do this, don't they? They bow the Chinaman, they bow down. What do? We shake each other's hand. You shake Megan's hand. You know, what energy the brother or the sister is transmitting to you? You know what I mean? They could be bad-minded. They could be some sister or whatever, may like you, but anyway, you transfer energy. What we do is we do this. We place our hands together like this. The reason why we do this is because we are gathering the rays of the sun together. Then we touch our third eye, Patara. Then we touch at the bottom of our chin, where the barotheric gland resides. Then we bow and we say, Port Kawun, all is. That is our form of greeting. Apart from saying, bad. Remember we did that last week, didn't we? How you say it again, bro?
I forgot it now, you know.
You can remember, I had to say it. I know you said when you came in this morning, just now. Yeah, that's it. Bad. Bad. So we do this. We bring the rays together. That's the third eye. Patara, that's it. Oh, sorry, what do you say? The barotheric gland and the chin. Made a mistake. We touch the rays together. Bring the rays together. Touch the third eye. Patara. The nose is the mirror, the pyramid. below the chin, the barometer gland. You bow, we say pu kawun, or you may say rahubat, greeting, rahubat, greetings. Okay, this is how we pray, and that's what you do. This is how we greet each other. Okay, so when you say, so you greet your mom, or so when you see your mother, you pray to your mother.
So I walk up to her and
as a shortcut, you say, Rahubat, mom. You say, you say what you want to say. So it's good you say that, you know. You pray to your mother. No, I said, yes, you pray to your mother.
Still that, you still don't really understand it. You see what I mean? Because, say, for example, if I pray to a being, my understanding of praying, innit? So if you're praying to a being, the assumption is they're superior to you in a way, innit? Obviously, another human being can't perform like a miracle. So I wouldn't see them whatever being prayed to, because that's worship. You see what I mean? At the same time. And if you're equal to me, I can't worship you. You see what I mean? Seems almost blasphemous.
Do you know, again, these are trick words that they used in us with prayer and worship, because worship is really giving reverence, and you are a supreme being anyway. So you are a superior being, and your mother is a superior being as well. She just happens to be your creator.
That'll make us equal.
Exactly.
So,
because
how can I worship an equal?
But you're not worship. If you're using the word worship, then if you're using the word worship, then substitute the word worship for giving reverence to. You give a reverence to. You know what I mean? So the thing is that remember that she birthed you, but here it is, you've got a portion of her essence inside of you. The only thing is, what makes you different from your mother is that you can't give birth like how your mother gives birth, but you can be got an orange, you cut it in half, you've got your partner, and you've got you. You place two parts of those oranges together to give birth to another orange or to another counterpart. You follow? Yeah. So with inside of you, you have a portion of the superior or the created deity within inside of you. So if your mother is superior than you, you have a portion of that superiority inside of you. She has given you a portion of that superiority inside of you. Because without our mother, none of us will be here today. Yeah. I mean, and you cannot say that about your father. But you can say that about your father because your father and mother took part in the sexual act that brought us here today.
Yeah.
You follow? That makes our mother and father our personal creators with the help of the forces of nature. Is your mother and father superior than you?
Well, yeah, in the sense of authority. Yeah, in the sense of like authority, but not to be worshipped. I don't think they're like superior to me in that sense. That you said to give reverence. Yeah, that's a difference. But I think it's just the way I see my definition of a God and prayer at the same time. So I think that's where I'm not really understanding because you say give reverence, and you say your parents are your God. But to me, obviously, your God is all seeing, all powerful, and has no limitations. Which like my mum, obviously, she's got limitations, so I can't see her as a God. But that just shows like how you think of a God compared to how I think of a God. So that's the. I think
he's praying you, brother. I see about to pray you like brother, praise that man. Go ahead, man. Like the mantis.
Let me score that off for you. Yeah. When you say God, you come from a religious perspective, mentally. So basically, what the brother's saying is your mother and father are the gods that create you in their image. Yeah, so that's what I mean. So when you're saying the God image, you're thinking of a Bible concept. As you've been brought up to believe. Yeah, believe. That's what they tell you to do, believe. They don't tell you to know, do they? So what the brother's saying, the teacher's saying, yeah, is your gods are your parents. Yeah? All right, cool.
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that, hear this now. Since your mother and father are gods, gods give birth to who? Gods. That makes you the son of God.
That's the thing. I wouldn't dare call myself a God.
But
yeah, it's just obviously that's a discrepancy because obviously I do come from a religious background, so I wouldn't dare call myself a God or any other person walking the earth a God, or even. So I mean, I believe people can be God-like. You know, you can, as you said, be in the image of God, but you can't be God yourself. So I think I understand what you're talking about. I understand the whole belief system. Yeah, it's interesting. I'd have to learn more, obviously, but I'm interested.
I think somebody want to. Someone say something. Anybody want to say something? Go ahead.
Just to help the brother a little bit, if he's familiar with the Bible verses, Psalms 82, where actually, if he's coming from a religious aspect and understanding, it says that, is it not written, I say ye are all gods? So in the Psalms and book of John, I believe, it does mention that we are gods according to the perspective of religion. So even in their own scriptures, they say we are gods. So just to help the brother out.
Because, you know, it's easy to pick out like one line of scripture and, you know, come to certain conclusions. But I don't think that's not the whole point of Christianity. It's not to teach people that they're God. That's a new age movement. You see what I mean? There's one God. You see what I mean? Yeah. That's explicit in the book as well. Yeah. But yeah, I'd read up that psalm and get the context before.
If you go to John 10:34, Jesus said, "Isn't it written your law said you are gods?" And if you and the brother's quoting Psalms 82:6, and if you go to Exodus 7:1, it says, read this. Exodus 7:1 says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moshe, see, I've made you a god, Elohim, unto the Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be the prophet or the news bearer." You see? So the trick is this word God, because in the Hebrew the word is Elohim or Elohim, which is a plural, more than two. And in the Arabic they would say Alihat or Alihim, plural, a dual, or Allah, which is the singular. You see? So when Jesus said, I think the Sahudi or Jesus' people said, I could be the son of God. He said, isn't written in your law, it's not written in your law, you are God's. And the brother was quoting from Psalms 82:6. It says, all the ye are gods. Like, you continue reading, it says, children of the Most High. So there is a differentiation between God and the Most High God. The Elion El and the Elohim or the Elohim or the Elo. There's a differentiation of the Most High God and God. All ye are children has hypnotized us to think, no, God is omnipotent. No. We are all omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. We just don't know it yet. So we have to accept the latent powers that are within us. And wu-sabat, what we are receiving right now, has been so constructed to awaken us up to those actualities or actual fact that we are the deities as mentioned in the Bible. Omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere at the same time.
So what was that psalm again? Because I want to check it out.
Psalms 82:6. And What to say?
10, verse 34.
John 10:34 and Exodus 7:1. So Psalms 82:6. Start from Psalms 82:1, reading down to get the whole context.
Right, you said so.
Get your notes there.
Language is very important.
Yeah, it's true. I was learning that here as well, how you use words.
Yeah, language is very. Yeah, we've got 5 more minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. Psalms 82:6.
82:6.
John 10:34.
Yeah.
And Exodus 7:1.
Thank you.
Also, Genesis 2:6 is good.
Genesis
2:6.
Yeah, because it talks about how so-called Eve and Adam ate from the apple, and it says, the woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. You will certainly die," the serpent said to the woman. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." So it says, essentially they teach you that if you ate from the apple of the forbidden tree, whatever, then you will die, but really you become awakened.
That was Satan's obviously biggest deception. Obviously in a Christian belief, he was lying.
Was he lying, or was he telling
No,
you?
he tells half truths. He says stuff that sounds nice, but messes you up in the end. That's how you learn how he works. So I get why you want that feeling, but when you know Satan as a being in it and how he is, it makes more sense to me anyway. But that's all good.
But did they actually die?
It's everlasting. They always
No.
live life.
He said that they would surely die, but they didn't die.
Yeah.
So did God actually tell them the truth in that story?
Yeah,
because they didn't die. The devil said that they wouldn't die, and they didn't die.
We died. That's why we died, because of that. Sorry. I don't know. That's what you know. Yeah. No, yeah, it's just happy discussion. So that's what, for my interpretation, and a lot of other people's in it. No, a lot of other Christians' interpretation of it. No, actually not interpretation, because it's right from the book. It's a spiritual death. So obviously that's why we die in it, because we weren't even supposed to really die. But after, obviously when Adam and Eve ate from ate from the tree of life, whatever. Of course, they obviously didn't drop down dead instantly, but that's why we die, and that's why if we don't worship God, we get like a separation from God, which is eternal death. That was meant for us before we ate the fruit.
On 6, number 6, it says, when the woman. In number 6, it says, when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized that they were naked. So God said, don't eat it because you will die. But in actual fact, when they ate it, they gained wisdom. They learned the truth.
Okay, we said no question on this, yeah? All right. Do you speak Hebrew?
No.
Do you speak Greek?
No.
So therefore you read the interpretation of English translation. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
So therefore translation you'll read is English, which is written by who? King James. Yeah. King James was Anglican, was a Christian. So therefore the interpretation of the Anglican Christian is not the interpretation of your thinking. Yeah? No. And then furthermore to add, Bible, William Shakespeare wrote the Bible. Yeah? These are your facts. So we're dealing with factology, not theology. Yeah? We're dealing with facts, not theories, not beliefs, not I think so, not maybes. We're dealing with facts. Yeah? What I'm saying is we want proof, evidence, yeah, that there's no, so God, the word God in Hebrew is Elohim. It's just a fact. Go to any Hebrew scholar, they'll tell you that. Yeah. So therefore, if you translation from Hebrew, yeah, it's more than one being. So they'll go straight on that. Yeah. So in dealing with facts, you got the root word of English language. Yeah. English language comes from where? Latin. And the Greeks, the Romans. All right. So therefore, you got the root words of root languages. Our master teacher is a linguist. Yeah, he's an ancient of days, but what it is, he teaches language. And one of his specialities is linguicity. Yeah, specialized in language. So therefore, if you read one of our books, upstairs, if you read any of our books, it basically stipulates that the language, it breaks it down, English, Hebrew, then the original language, and gives the original language in its true form. Yeah, that's what we've got to say the record straight on that. All right.
Well, we run out of time. We ran out of time, and what you do is, when you come again next class, ask that question, because we can really expand on that. And like the brother said, there is that all got to do with the language, see, and that's why we are never encouraged to learn the language of the scriptures. Be there if you're a Muslim, Arabic, if you rephrase that. It doesn't matter whether you speak Hebrew, you can read right Hebrew, Arabic, Greek, or even the English, because a lot of this got to do with having knowledge of the etymology or the root meaning of words. Even in the English, what does the word soul mean? What's the etymological meaning of the word soul? And you do that, you find it's coming from, according to them, it's coming from the Latin, from the Greek. That's where they stop. But you take it further, you say, oh, what does soul mean in the Arabic? What does soul mean in the Hebrew? Take it further. What does the word soul, as it pertains to us as Negroes, what do the highest of mystery schools regard soul as, which is the ancient Egyptian mystery system? That's the highest of learning centers on the planet. And all those European philosophers came to Tamaray, Africa, to learn from us. You see, so language is the trick and the trap, but language is also the key for unlocking the doors. As we say, you could, as you said earlier on, you could put a spell on a person, or you could spell the word. So the spell can be enforced by way of the written word or the spoken word. The spell can be broken by way of the written word and the spoken word. But it's language. Language is the key to opening unlocked doors. And with that, Moisara, before we close, just like to add once again, is that if you all like to become part of the wu-sabat Sha'ab tribe or Moisara family, you could go on the chat.co.uk/join our community, and there's a registration form you all could fill in, and you can access our classes, events, what we got coming on our website. So it's nashat.co.uk/join our community, and they're laughing. So with all that being said, we'd like to say once again, welcome. We thank you all for coming to class today, taking the time and effort to come out, because it's you all, the listening audience on Clubhouse and Zoom, and it's you all who come here in the chat store. You're the ones who give us purpose to present wu-sabat. So it's each one teach one. So all of us are teachers and students at the same time. So 1 minute we're teaching, next minute we stand up as a teacher, next minute we're sitting down as a student. Student, teacher, teacher, student. Okay? Wadu. Is that infamous Nicole?
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, I'm waiting for you when you teach class. I'll be in the front row.
I remember that. Yeah.
Thanks to take it, brothers.
All right.
That's good though. I like when you have lots of questions.
Has hypnotized us to think, no, God is omnipotent. No. We are all omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. We just don't know it yet. So we have to accept the latent powers that are within us. And wu-sabat, what we are receiving right now, has been so constructed to awaken us up to those actualities of actual fact that we are the deities as mentioned in the Bible. Omnipotent, all powerful, omniscient, all knowing, omnipresent, everywhere at the same time.
So what was that psalm again? Because I want to check it out.
Psalms 82:6. And what to say? John 10:34 and Exodus 7:1. So Psalms 82:6. Start from Psalms 82:1, reading down to get the whole context.
Right, you said so.
Get your notes there.
Language is very important.
Yeah, it's true. I was learning that here as well. How you use words.
Yeah, language is very important. Yeah, we've got 5 more minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. Psalms 82:6. John 10:34.
Yeah.
And Exodus 7:1.
Thank you.
Also, Genesis 2:6 is good.
Genesis
2:6.
Yeah, because it talks about how so-called Eve and Adam ate from the apple, and it says, the woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. You will certainly die," the serpent said to the woman. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." So it says, essentially they teach you that if you ate from the apple of the forbidden tree, whatever, then you will die, but really you become awakened.
That was Satan's obviously biggest deception. Obviously in the Christian belief, he was lying.
Was he lying, or was he telling you?
He tells half truths. He says stuff that sounds nice, but messes you up in the end. That's how you learn how he works in Christianity. So I get why you brought up that feeling, but when you know Satan as a being in it and how he is, it makes more sense to me anyway. But that's a good.
But did they actually die?
Yes, that's
it's everlasting. They always
No,
live life.
He said that they would surely die, but they didn't die.
Yeah.
So did God actually tell them the truth in that story?
Yeah,
because they didn't die. The devil said that they wouldn't die, and they didn't die.
We died. That's why we died, because of that. But sorry. I don't know. That's what you argue. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a discussion. So that's what, for my interpretation, and a lot of other people's in it. No, a lot of other Christians' interpretation of it. No, actually not interpretation, because it's right from the book. It's a spiritual death. So obviously that's why we die in it, because we weren't even supposed to really die. But after, obviously they when Adam and Eve ate from ate from the tree of life, whatever. Of course, they obviously didn't drop down dead instantly, but that's why we die, and that's why if we don't worship God, we get like a separation from God, which is eternal death. That was meant for us before we ate the fruit.
On 6, number 6, it says, when the woman. In number 6, it says, when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were open and they realized that they were naked. So God said, don't eat it because you will die. But in actual fact, when they ate it, they gained wisdom. They learned the truth.
Okay, we set no course straight on this, yeah? All right. Do you speak Hebrew? No. Do you speak Greek? No. So therefore you're reading a interpretation of English translation. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
So therefore, translation you're reading is English, which is written by who? King James. Yeah. King James was Anglican, was a Christian. So therefore, the interpretation of the Anglican Christian is not the interpretation of your thinking. Yeah? And then furthermore to add, Bible, William Shakespeare wrote the Bible. Yeah? These are your facts. So we're dealing with factology, not theology. Yeah? We're dealing with facts, not theories, not beliefs, not I think so, not maybes. We're dealing with facts. Yeah? What I'm saying is we want proof, evidence, yeah, that there's no, so God, the word God in Hebrew is Elohim. It's just a fact. God, any Hebrew scholar, they'll tell you that. Yeah. So therefore, if you translation from Hebrew, yeah, it's more than one being. So they'll go straight on that. Yeah. So in dealing with facts, you got the root word of English language. Yeah. English language comes from where? Latin. And the Greeks. The Romans. All right. So therefore, you got to the root words of root languages. Our master teacher is a linguist. Yeah, he's an ancient of days, but what it is, he teaches language. And one of his specialities is linguicity. Yeah, specializing in language. So therefore, if you read one of our books, upstairs, if you read any of our books, it basically stipulates that the language, it breaks it down, English, Hebrew, then the original language, and gives the original language in its true form. Yeah, that's what we've got to say. We'll go straight on that. All right.
Well, we ran out of time. We ran out of time, and what you do is, when you come again next class, ask that question, because we can really expand on that. And like the brother said, is that it's all got to do with the language, see, and that's why we are never encouraged to learn the language of the scriptures. Be it if you're a Muslim, Arabic, if you rephrase that. It doesn't matter whether you speak Hebrew, you can read right Hebrew, Arabic, Greek, or even the English. Because a lot of this got to do with having knowledge of the etymology of the root meaning of words. Even in the English, what does the word soul mean? What's the etymological meaning of the word soul? And you do that, you find it's coming from, according to them, it's coming from the Latin, from the Greek. That's where they stop. But you take it further, you say, what does soul mean in the Arabic? What does soul mean in the Hebrew? Take it further. What does the word soul, as it pertains to us as Negroes, what do the highest of mystery schools regard soul as, which is the ancient Egyptian mystery system? That's the highest of learning centers on the planet, and all those European philosophers came to Tamaray, Africa, to learn from us. You see, so language is the trick and the trap, but language is also the key for unlocking the doors. As we say, you could, as you said earlier on, you could put a spell on a person, or you could spell the word. So you could be, the spell can be enforced by way of the written word or the spoken word. The spell can be broken by way of the written word and the spoken word. But it's language. Language is the key to opening unlocked doors. And with that, Moisar, before we close, just like to add once again, is that if you all like to become part of the wu-sabat Sha'ab tribe or Moisar family, you could go on the shat.co.uk/join our community, and there's a registration form you all could fill in, and you can access our classes, events, what we got coming on our website. So it's nashat.co.uk/join our community, and they're laughing. So with all that being said, we'd like to say once again, welcome. We thank you all for coming to class today, taking the time and effort to come out. Because it's you all, the listening audience on Clubhouse and Zoom, and it's you all who come here in the chat store. You're the ones who give us purpose to present wu-sabat. So it's each one teach one. So all of us are teachers and students at the same time. So 1 minute we're teaching, next minute we stand up as a teacher, next minute we're sitting down as a student. Student, teacher, teacher, student. Okay? Wadu. Okay. Is that infamous Nicole?
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, I'm waiting for you when you teach class. I'll be in the front row.
I don't know where that's yeah.
Thanks to take it, brothers.
All right.
I like